Hey, what's going on, everybody? Jameson here. I'm going to give it just a minute. Adjust my camera. Happy Veterans Day, by the way, everybody. I've got a really important message for today, so you're going to want to make sure that you share this video, especially if you have any friends or family or you know a veteran. I want you to go ahead and hit that share button. I want you to share this video with them, because what I'm going to be talking about over the course of the next few minutes is really going to be a challenge to everyone out there. So again, if you're just hopping on, I'm going to ask you to please share this video. If you know a veteran, okay, if you know a veteran or you know someone who has served in law enforcement, someone who has served as a firefighter, if you know anybody that served as a first responder, I want you to share this video, because today's message, I'm going to try to be as clear and concise as possible. I'm actually headed to a luncheon, but I wanted to take just a few minutes on Veterans Day to talk about something that's really heavy on my heart. And honestly, it's something that came up as of last night from our Patriot Academy class. For those of you guys that don't know, I'm a constitutional coach with the Patriot Academy. Last night we had class number 3, week 3. And it's an 8-week class that we're actually crunching down into 4 weeks before, the Christmas holiday here. So again, I'm going to give it just another couple of minutes. Ronald, welcome. Hello from the Woodlands. Happy Veterans Day. Happy Veterans Day, brother. Again, if you know a veteran, or you know someone that has served our country or served your community, whether in law enforcement, fire, EMS, some kind of first responder, I want you to share this video. Okay. All right, let's just go ahead and jump into this. What I'm going to do here is I'm just going to kind of talk to myself a little bit, share my thoughts, and you guys are welcome to just listen along. So week 3 of this Patriot Academy class, this constitutional class, we were talking about duty. And there's a quote here from Benjamin Rush that I want to read to you. Okay. This is what Benjamin Rush, one of 3 of the most prominent founding fathers, okay, he says, patriotism is as much a virtue as justice, and is as necessary for the support of societies as natural affection is for the support of families. The amore patriae, which is the love of country, is both a moral and religious duty. It comprehends not only the love of our neighbors, but of millions of our fellow creatures, not only of the present, but of future generations. Guys, there's so much in this quote, so much in this paragraph from Benjamin Rush. And for those of you guys that don't know, Benjamin Rush, again, one of 3 of the most prominent founding fathers, and he is also known as the father of the public school system. Okay, now not the public schools that we have today, but the public schools as it was seen, as was originally intended by our founding fathers. This is what Benjamin Rush has to say. He says that he taught that the purpose of public schools was to teach students to love and serve God, country, and their families. God, country, and family. So Dr. Rush, he actually put country before family, because he understood that if we ever lost control of our country, that it would become the great enemy of our families. And so, guys, whenever we talk about patriotism, whenever we talk about love of country, I don't think that there is any greater love that you can have than being willing to give your life. As a matter of fact, John 15:13 says that no greater love has any man than he lay down his life for his friends. And so if you are a veteran that's out there today, if you are a veteran and, maybe you've seen battle, maybe you haven't seen battle. The thing about veterans, guys, is not all veterans see battle. Not all veterans join during wartime, and not all veterans get to see the action, so to speak. But that doesn't mean that they didn't realize that there was a chance that they could. They were willing to give of themselves. They were willing to risk their lives for this thing that we call freedom and liberty. You know, and speaking of patriotism, okay, so you might have noticed in that the title of this video, this Happy Veterans Day video or Veterans Day message, is actually a quote by Nathan Hale. Now, many of you guys may have never heard of Nathan Hale, maybe so. Nathan Hale, at 21 years old, he agreed to be a spy. Now, whenever you hear the word spy, I don't know about you guys, but I think of like James Bond, right? Or Jason Bourne, right? I mean, we think of spies today and they've got all these gadgets, they've got a lot of money, they get all the girls. But back then, being a spy was like the lowest of the low, okay? And being a spy was the lowest of the low. It was a dishonor if you were caught, and not a lot of people wanted to do it. But here was this 21-year-old kid, Nathan Hale, who agreed to be a spy. And I won't tell you the whole backstory, but what I will say is this. Most of the signers of the Declaration of Independence, they actually signed that document on August the 2nd of 1776. Many of them believed that it would be their death warrant. I want you to think about that. Most of the signers of the Declaration of Independence signed that document on August the 2nd of 1776. And most of them believed that in and of itself would be their death warrant. Now, I know it's difficult in 2022. It's difficult to take ourselves outside of this modern era, right? Where we have smartphones, where we have, fiber optic internet, where we have drive-throughs, where we have microwaves. It's very difficult for us to go back in time and to put ourselves in the mindsets of the framers and the founders of our nation. But guys, I want you to pretend for a moment, okay? I want you to pretend for a moment that we're not American, okay? I want you to go back to the 1700s, and we are under British rule. We don't have any rights except that which the king says that we have. And the king at any minute could take away our rights just on a whim. Because in a society, in a government like that, what the king is God. And you and a group of friends decide, we're sick and tired of the tyranny. We're sick and tired of this. And so we are going to come together and we are going to declare our independence, knowing full well that if you do, you would be considered a traitor if you were to lose. That's exactly what's going on here, guys. So we have the signers of the Declaration. They're believing that just by signing this, it's going to be their death warrant. How many people do you know today that won't even get off their butts and go vote? Let's talk about commitment for a second. Right? We all have a moral obligation, a duty to at bare minimum, get out there and vote. But how many people did not show up to vote on Tuesday? Everybody was expecting this red wave. Everybody was expecting this red tsunami. And it didn't happen. It happened in Florida. I mean, look what happened in Florida. Here in Texas, my gosh. Abbott barely won. Barely. And whenever you go back and you look at the numbers, you know who had the greatest impact? Generation Z. Gen Z had the greatest impact on this election because we have millennials, we have Gen Xers, and we have boomers that won't get off their butts and get out there and vote. You won't get involved in school board elections. You won't expose the corruption because you're afraid of causing division. Newsflash, we're already divided. But if you could just put yourself into our founding fathers' shoes for a second. They thought this was going to be their death warrant. So here comes Nathan Hale, 21 years old. If you're 21 years old today, guess who you are? Gen Z. You are Gen Z at 21 years old in 2022. Here comes Nathan Hale saying, I am willing to do whatever needs to be done. So at the age of only 21, Captain Nathan Hale was captured after volunteering for a recon mission. And just before he was hung, he gave a passionate speech for freedom. And he closed it with his famous one life statement that has inspired generations to sacrifice for freedom. And that speech was, "I only regret that I have but one life to lose for my country." At 21 years old, Nathan Hale, right as he's about to be hung, and if you can imagine these British soldiers, they're heckling him, okay? They're making fun of him. And in the midst of all that, at 21 years of age, "I only regret that I have but one life to lose for my country." Man, you talk about commitment. Talk about patriotism. We're living in a day and time where people care more about leisure and about fun than about liberty and freedom. And guys, we're losing our butts. But if you're a veteran today, and yeah, I'm going to do something, guys, that many of you might disagree with. But Dan Crenshaw, as much as I don't like the way that you represent me in Congress, thank you for your service. Thank you for being willing to put your life on the line for the cause of liberty. No greater love has any man than he lay down his life for his friends. One last thing that I want to mention, guys. Have you ever seen the movie Saving Private Ryan? The entire movie, it was World War II, based on a true story. The entire movie, it comes to their attention that Private Ryan has lost all of his brothers. He is but the only son left to that family. So they make it their mission to go and find Private Ryan. And this team is led by Captain Miller, who in the movie is played by Tom Hanks. And just one by one, they're being picked off, all in search for this one individual, Private Ryan. And at the end of the movie, Captain Miller gets shot. And they found Private Ryan. And Private Ryan says, "What can I ever do to repay you?" And Captain Miller grabs him by the collar, pulls him down. And he says, "Earn this. Earn this. Earn the sacrifices that have been made for you. Earn those that have come before you to find you, to bring you back to your family. Earn this." And then, of course, at the end of the movie, it fades from young Private Ryan to Ryan as he's older, and he's at the cemetery, and he's standing at the grave of Captain Miller. And he says, "Tell me that I've earned this. Tell me that I've lived a good life, worthy of the sacrifice." Guys, where is that? Where is that today in 2022? Where is that sense of duty? Where is that sense of honor? Where is that sense of earning what was not free? Abraham Lincoln said that we should take increased devotion to the cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion. The fate of liberty and the fate of the free world depends on Jameson, Ellis. It depends on you, on each and every one of you. And so if you're a veteran, whether it's a military vet, whether it is a first responder, law enforcement, thank you for your service. And I'm going to make sure, moving forward, that I do everything in my power to earn what has been given to me, to live a life that honors those that have come before us. And I want to ask each and every one of you to do the same. These veterans out there, they're dealing with issues, PTSD, trauma. They need each and every one of us to earn what has been given to us and not free. Sometimes I think that we forget that freedom isn't free. I only regret that I have but one life to lose for my country. My challenge to each and every one of you is to start giving your life. Educate yourself on the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, the Bill of Rights. Study them. Read, study, and assert. Read the Constitution, study the Constitution, and assert your rights. Earn this. Guys, I say this all the time. We can either make history or we can make excuses, but we cannot make both. Happy Veterans Day. Again, if you are a veteran, thank you for your service. Thank you for being willing to give of yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially, for the cause of liberty. Love you guys.